Hello and welcome back. So this video is for class 11th and today we are going to start with a new chapter. So that is chapter number 3, motion in a straight line. So already some of these concepts we have learnt in 9th class and also we discussed in our previous Google Meet class. Okay, so I am not going to go deep into those topics. Let us just revise them very quickly. So of course we know that motion, we have two kinds of motion. Either we can say we are having a linear motion where the object is moving in a straight line, or we could have a circular motion where obviously the object is moving along a circular path. So in this chapter we are going to focus on motion in a straight line. So all the concepts that we will see, even though it is not specifically mentioned, we have to assume that the object is going in a straight line. Okay. Next, what we are going to see some of the concepts regarding this particular motion. So of course we know the concept of distance, right? What is distance? The total path length traveled by an object. Okay, again as I said, this we discussed in 9th class very properly, so I am sure all of you remember. So what is distance? The total path length traveled by an object. So we know that when we are going from one place to another, whatever is the path we have traveled, for example from your house when you come to school, right? If you see on your the van odometer, correct, that will show how many kilometers you have traveled. So that is nothing but the distance. Okay, and SI unit for distance is meters. Next we know there is a concept called as displacement. What is displacement? Shortest distance between initial point and final point. Okay, so whenever we are moving from one point to another, we draw a straight line from the starting point and the final point. Okay, initial and final point, the straight line that we draw, that straight line gives the displacement. Again, SI unit for displacement is also meters. Okay, and we can also say that displacement is nothing but distance with direction. Okay, because distance, it is a scalar quantity, it does not have any directions, but displacement you have to specify with the direction. Okay. Third thing that you will remember is the concept of speed. Okay, we know that speed is defined as distance with respect to time. Okay, how much distance you have moved with respect to time, that we call as the speed. What is SI unit of speed? SI unit of speed is meter per second. Okay, fourth thing you will remember is concept of velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is change of displacement with respect to time. Correct. So how much displacement you had divided by the time, that gives us the velocity. SI unit of velocity is also meter per second. Okay. So I hope these four things you are remembering. Okay. Of course, even if there is some confusion, in the class notes that I will be giving you, all these definitions are there. Okay. So if there is any confusion, either you can see in the class notes or also you can see in your textbook also. Okay, so with that, now let us begin with the next topics. Okay, so I hope those things you are remembering, okay, and you have understood. Now let us see the same concepts but in the light of class 11, because of course you will ask that if we have studied all these things in 9th class, then what is the new thing that we are seeing in 11th class? So here is the new thing that we are seeing. First, let us see how we are going to write the concept of velocity now. So we know we define velocity as displacement upon time. Okay. So if I write the velocity is equal to change in displacement upon time, I can write the change in displacement by delta x, and change in time I can write as delta t. Now I am sure this you have learned seen in mathematics also. When we put the small triangle, that means change. Correct. So let us say the object is going between 2 points. The initial position is x1, final position is x2. So what will be delta x? Delta x will be x2 minus x1. Okay. Then here the time was suppose t1, at x2 time is t2. Delta t will be t2 minus t1. That is the meaning of delta. Okay. I hope that you are knowing these concepts. So what we know is that we can write as delta x by delta t. But this will give us the average velocity. Why it will give average velocity? It is total displacement divided by the total time interval. Correct? Now, if I want to find instantaneous velocity, what is the meaning of instantaneous velocity? See, when we are having a motion, our velocity could be changing. It is not necessary that we are having one constant velocity. Correct? Normally that is what happens, right? Our speed keeps on changing, the velocity will also keep on changing. So to find instantaneous velocity, that is at one particular time t, we have to take something called as a limit as delta t tends to 0. Now this concept of limits, again you are going to see it in mathematics totally. Here I will not go into these in detail, okay, just how much we are requiring for our formula. So to find instantaneous velocity, we are going to take limit as this time delta t tends to 0. That means when time delta t is very small. So if I take this limit, then I will be getting the instantaneous velocity. And then what happens, because it is limit of delta t as it tends to 0, this can be written as dx by dt, right? That is derivative of x with respect to time. Once again, the concept of derivatives and integration in very much detail you are going to study in mathematics. This is something called as derivatives. Some of you may be knowing, some of you may not be knowing. Even if this looks difficult, don't worry, it is not very difficult. But here I cannot go into the theory of derivatives. Okay. So what is to be remembered? Velocity now can be written as dx by dt, derivative of x with respect to time. Okay. So this is one new formula that now you are going to remember. Now the formula we have written differently, but of course SI unit will be the same, that is meter per second. Okay. So this is how you will write velocity now. Now let us do the same thing for acceleration. How do we define acceleration? Acceleration is defined as it is the rate of change of velocity. Okay, that is what is acceleration. SI unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Okay, so acceleration, how we will write? Obviously now you will say we can write acceleration as delta v by delta t. Correct? Change in velocity upon change in time. Now, so therefore now what we do? We want to find out the instantaneous acceleration. So this we can write as limit as delta t tends to 0 delta v by delta t, assuming that the acceleration is also changing. That is why I said that we want to find out the instantaneous acceleration. Correct. So instantaneous acceleration will be given by limit as delta t tends to 0. So now this delta will get transformed into derivative, and therefore we will get a is equal to dv by dt. And again, as I said, SI unit will be the same, that is meter per second square. Okay, following this, so what is the new thing you have learned now? You can write v as v is equal to dx by dt, and you can write acceleration as a is equal to dv by dt. Okay, so these two things are to be understood. Okay, next I hope you remember the concept of the graphs, that is the position time graph and velocity time graph. Okay, of course we had discussed that in 9th class, and if there is still some doubt, you will find it in the class notes. Okay, I have given some examples of these graphs, so you can just figure out what is the meaning of those graphs. Okay, if there are doubts about graph, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, if you want me to explain the concept of graph once again, I will do it in the next class. Now let us see the next part. So now we know about distance, displacement, speed, velocity and acceleration. Now we can write the three equations of motion. Okay, or they are called as the kinematic equations. So once again, I am very sure that you remember these equations. The first equation was v is equal to u plus at. V represents final velocity, u represents initial velocity, a represents acceleration, t represents time. So if an object is having a uniform acceleration, okay, if the acceleration is not changing, in that case, for that object you can find the parameters in this manner. Okay, then the second equation we have learnt is that s is equal to ut plus half at square. Here this s represents the displacement. We can write this x as x minus x naught, that is final position minus initial position also. Okay, of course if you write it as s also, no issues. And third equation, I am sure again you remember, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Again v being the final velocity, u initial velocity, A is the acceleration, S is the displacement. Once again we will write it as x minus x naught. Okay, I will repeat. X is final position, x naught is the initial position. So these are the three equations of motion which you have studied in 9th class. Now in 9th class we got a proof for these equations by using the graphical method. Now in 11th class we are going to find the proof of these equations by using something called as the calculus method. So let us see what is the method. So this is an important question from exam. Okay, that is derive three equations of motion using the calculus method. Now the calculus method that we are talking about, that involves something called as derivatives and something called as integration. Of course for you these things will be very new. Okay, so don't worry about it. In mathematics you are going to study the full theory about derivation and integration. In physics basically you will be needing derivatives and integration when we are doing some derivations. Okay, so whenever these concepts are there, that time I will explain that particular formula to you. Okay, if you are finding it very difficult, do not worry. Okay, as you practice you will be able to understand that concept in a better manner. Okay, so for now let us see the answer. So now we are going to derive the three equations and we are going to use the method called as calculus. So first let us derive the first equation of motion, that is v is equal to u plus at. So here is how we will do it. First we will say, we know that acceleration is equal to dv upon dt. Okay, this is something that we have seen just now, that acceleration can be written as derivative of velocity with respect to time, right? So a is equal to dv by dt. This equation can be written as a dt is equal to dv. What we did, we took this dt on this side. Correct. So now what I got? I got a dt is equal to dv. Fine. I think till here no issues. Then we will say we want to integrate on both the sides. So when you are saying integrate, this is the symbol we are writing for integration. Okay. So when you see the symbol, that means it is integration. And now what is integration? The basic meaning of integration is to combine or add. Okay. So when we say we are integrating, basically we are combining all the small quantities. So we are integrating a dt and we are integrating dv. So whenever we are combining, we need to know what is the lower limit and what is the higher limit. Correct? जब हम combining करेंगे तो हमें पता होना चाहिए कि सबसे छोटा पार्ट कौन सा है और सबसे बड़ा पार्ट कौन सा है. That is why you will see in integration we are going to put something called as the limits. Okay, what are limits? We'll have the lower limit and then we will have the higher limit. So then this equation we will say integrating both sides, we get integral a dt is equal to integral of dv. Fine till here? Now we are integrating a dt equal to integral of dv. Now look at this a. This a represents acceleration. Okay, and we are assuming this motion is having uniform acceleration. So acceleration change nahi hoga. What will change is this time, because time will have two limits, the initial time and the final time. So let us give limits for only time. So what will be limits for time? Initial limit will be 0, final limit will be some time t. Okay, so this is how we write the limits, 0 to t. Then we will put the limits for velocity. How much is the initial velocity? Initial velocity we decide to write as u. How much is final velocity? We decide to write it as v. Okay, so what we have got? Integral of a dt from 0 to t equal to integral of dv from u to v. Fine, I hope till here you are not having any difficulties. Okay, of course these methods are very new for you, but that is okay. As you see these concepts slowly you are going to understand them in a much better manner. So when we say integral of a dt, now a, as we said, is a constant, it will come out. So we have only integral of dt. Now as I said, as we move forward I will teach you one by one the formula. So here is the formula. So integral, this is the formula, integral of dx is simply x. Okay, any variable that you want to integrate, So if you have integral of dx, that will be x, or you have integral of dy, that will be equal to y. So how much is integral of dt? Integral of dt will be t. Okay, easy to understand. Now this is again something you have to remember. Let us say the lower limit of x is x1 and upper limit of x is x2. So here, now this is the formula I am teaching you. Integral of dx from x1 to x2 will be equal to x, and we will put a line like this, and then we will write lower limit x1, upper limit x2. Okay, and then now because of this line, what we have to do? We have to write this as, this x will assume the highest value, that is x2, and then minus the lower value x1. So this equation, that is integral of dx from x1 to x2, will be equal to x2 minus x1. Okay, once again, if there was a doubt, just rewind the video and just see this once again. I will repeat. So integral of dx from x1 to x2 is equal to x between the limits x1 to x2, and then what you have to do? Subtract, that is x2 higher limit minus lower limit. Same thing we will do here now. Integral of a dt, a is a constant, a comes out, so a, then integral of dt is t between the limits t and 0, and then t minus 0 will be nothing but t. So this integral will become equal to t. Getting it? It is more or less the same thing. So this part that becomes equal to at. This is equal to, now integral of dv. Integral of dv will be v. What are the limits? The limits are v and u. So how you will write this? You will write v will assume the highest value v minus lowest value u. So we will get at is equal to v minus u, or we can write this as v is equal to u plus at. That is nothing but our first kinematic equation. Okay. Again, I know very first time you would have seen these kind of formulae. Okay, but don't worry, they are not very difficult. Okay, if you just see them once or twice, you are going to understand their meaning properly. Let us derive the second equation now, that is s is equal to ut plus half at square. So for this, here is what we will start. We will say that we know that v is equal to dx by dt. Okay, once again we already saw this. So what we will do, we can write this as v dt is equal to dx, and now you would have guessed we are going to integrate both the sides. Okay, so we will write integrating both sides, integral of v dt is equal to integral of dx. Okay, now when we are doing integral of v dt, which are the limits that we are going to put? So before we put the limits, let us make some changes. Now this is v. We know that we have already derived that v is equal to u plus at. So that is the limit that we are going. That is the formula we are going to use. So this you will write as integral of, in place of v you will write u plus at dt equal to integral of dx. Now when you look at this formula, u, that is a constant because it is initial velocity. A is a constant, that is the acceleration. So limits we will put only for the time. So time limits will go from 0 to t. Here they are the limits for the change in position. So change in position we can do from x0 to some position x. Now integral of u plus at dt equal to integral of dx. Okay. Now how do we solve this part? To solve this, we are going to have to open the bracket. Okay, now I am not going to do the entire step here. See, this is what will happen. This can be written as integral of u dt plus integral of at dt. Fine. Now, integral of u dt. How much will be integral of u dt? U being a constant bahar aa jayega, and integral of t dt will be t. So this part, this we will get as u multiplied by t plus. Okay, now let us do for this part. Integral of at dt. Integral of at dt. Here is the thing. A is a constant bahar aa jayega, but this is a formula you have to learn now. So integral of x dx if you are having. See, earlier हमने क्या देखा था? Earlier we saw integral of dx. So integral of dx was x, but now you have integral of x dx. Integral of x dx will be equal to x square by 2. Okay, once again, what is integral of x dx? integral of x dx is x square by 2. If it is having some limits, that is x1 to x2, then this will be written like this. Okay, so how much will be integral of at dt? A being a constant, it will come out, and integral of at dt will be t square upon 2. So we will get this term as a t square divided by 2 equal to integral of dx. Now I am sure you remember very well. Integral of dx will be x between the limits x and x naught. So it will become x minus x naught. Fine. So what is the formula you are getting now? Ut plus half at square is equal to x minus x naught. X minus x naught is nothing but the change in position, correct? Or displacement. So this will write as s. So we will get s is equal to ut plus half at square. That is our second equation of motion. Now let us derive the third equation of motion, that is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Okay, to do this we will start with the formula for acceleration. So we will say a is equal to dv by dt. Again we have seen this previously. So now one change we will do here. We will say that on the RHS let us multiply and divide by dx. Now that is something that is allowed. Okay, we can, if we multiply and divide by dx, that means dx by dx is 1. So that does not change the equation. So this will become dv upon dx multiplied by dx upon dt. Now note that these are the same equations. Okay, see here you have dv in the numerator, here also we have dv in the numerator, dt in the denominator, dt in the denominator. We have only added the factors of dx and dx. Okay, once in the numerator, once in the denominator. So actually we have only multiplied by 1. So that is why there is no fallacy here. That is why this equation is correct. Okay, but then now what we get? We see that we are getting dv by dx and dx by dt. And what is dx by dt? Dx by dt is nothing but the velocity. So we can write this as, therefore a is equal to dx by dt directly becomes v. So we get a is equal to v dv by dx. Then let us take this dx on this side. So we will get therefore a dx is equal to v dv. And now as you would have guessed, we are going to take integration on both the sides. So taking integration on both sides, we will get therefore integral of a dx is equal to integral of v dv. Okay. Now what are the limits we want to put? So we will write this as integral of a dx. Okay. Now integral of a dx. A is a constant, so only limits will be put for x. So let us put the limits x naught to x equal to integral of v dv. Okay, what are the limits for v? Initial limit is u and the final limit is v. So integral of v dv. Then what do we get? Integral of a dx. Okay, a will be coming out of the bracket. Integral of dx will be x. Okay, between the limits x and x naught. So we will get this as a x minus x naught equal to integral of v. Integral of v dv will be v square by 2. Okay, similar to what we saw in the previous part. Integral of t dt was t square by 2. So here also it will be the same. So we will get it as v square by 2 between the limits v and u. Now it will take the highest value v, lowest value u. So this you will get as v square minus u square divided by 2. X minus x naught will be nothing but s. So as is equal to v square minus u square by 2. Rearranging, you will get v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Thus we have found out the third equation of motion. The last concept we will see is the concept of relative velocity. Now of course we know the concept of velocity very well, but there is a concept that is called as relative velocity. Means when you have two objects in motion, okay, depending upon their velocities, we can find their velocities with respect to each other. I'll give you a simple example. If let us say two vehicles are moving on the road and they are going at almost the similar velocity. So when you look at the other vehicle, it almost looks like it is at rest. Okay, basically you feel it is not even moving, because the relative velocity of that vehicle with respect to you must be 0. Okay, or if you are moving in the front direction and there is another vehicle that is coming towards you, it looks like it is coming very much fast. Okay, that is because it is having a higher relative velocity. Okay, so it is very simple how to calculate relative velocity. Let us say there are two objects A and B. A is having velocity VA and B is having velocity VB. So we can say that relative velocity of A with respect to B, we write it like this, VAB. So if you have written VAB means relative velocity of A with respect to B is equal to VA minus VB. Okay, very simple. Similarly, you can say that relative velocity of B with respect to A will be VB minus VA. Okay, that is the concept of relative velocity. So, we saw a lot of new concepts today and some of the old ones. I hope it has not been too heavy on you. Okay, just go through the notes, read them carefully, and these are concepts that are basically the foundation for when we study about motion. So you have to understand them properly. Again, I know very well that the concept of calculus might have seemed a little bit daunting at first. Okay, and that is understandable. Just try to understand as much as you can. I am sure you are going to have doubts. Let me know your doubts. We will have a Google Meet class next, okay, where we'll try to solve as many doubts as possible. Okay. Now what you are going to do, all these derivations that we saw today, you are going to complete them from the class notes. Okay, properly all the questions have to be written. It is very essential, right? And then most important in this chapter, you can get the numericals. Now for numericals, you will do the solved examples first from the textbook, and the exercise questions I will be sending you a file for it. Okay, so I hope you have got it. If there are any doubts, please let me know. Thank you.